Friends, good afternoon. Saddened by the departure of Don's soul, we gather to say goodbye to him. Accomplished and devoted, caring and determined, Don was for years an active presence within our midst. Our rabbis teach, weep for the mourners, not for the soul that is gone. It to its repose, we to grief. Thus, Donald's beloved family and friends and the members of our congregation and community recall the many vital decades of his life, a life rich in devotion to family, remembrance, and Jewish life. For death has taken Donald, loving husband of Zena, father of Stuart and Elaine. For Don's love that united you in life and which death cannot sever. For his companionship that was shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For hikes and genealogy, for all these and more, we give thanks to God. We know that all things pass, all that lives must die, all that we prize is but lent to us, and the time comes when we must surrender it. We are travelers on the same road that leads to the same end. Acutely aware of life's ultimate brevity, Don was born in 1929. Today, we who likewise travel that well-worn road turn to the rituals of Jewish tradition. For in times of joy and in times of sorrow, the Jew searches not for platitudes or easy answers, but for justice and compassion in God. Hence, amidst mystery and grief, we lift our voices in comfort and hope and prayer. Shaviti Adonai, Psalm 16.
Shaviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini balemot lachen samak libi vayagel kevodi afesari yishkon kavetav Ki lo tazov nafshi lishol yotitel chasedach lirot chasat todieni oroch hayim oroch hayim Sova samachot et panecha nihimot bimincha netzach Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini
Translation, I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side, I shall not be moved. From Psalm 15. Adonai, who may abide in your house? Who may dwell in your holy mountain? Those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them, or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless, but honor those who revere God, who give their word and come what may, do not retract, who do not exploit others, who do not take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. Psalm 23. Adonai ro'i lo etza.
Adonai ro'i lo esar, bino deshe yarbitzeni, ame menuchot, inaleni. Nafshi yashovev, yancheni b'margalet tzedek, yancheni b'margalet tzedek, l'man shemo. Begeit salmavet lo irara, ki atai madi, shivtecha umishkentecha, hemoyenachamu. Tarok lefanai, shulchan neged sorberai, dishanta v'shemen roshi, kosi revaya. Yidivuni, koli mechayai, veshavti beveit Adonai, leorech yamim. Adonai ro'i lo exar, Adonai ro'i lo exar.
A familiar translation of this psalm: The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in contrast with mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 121, Esa Enai.
Esa Enai el Harim, Me'ayim Yavo Ezri. Esa Enai el Harim, Me'ayim Yavo
begins, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. And this psalm concludes, God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and coming, now and forever. Wisdom from Ecclesiastes, L'kozman ve'et l'choch hafetz tachat hashamayim. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to speak, the poet has written, birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness and back, we pray, to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, made stage by stage from birth to death to life everlasting. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach yihi Shem Adonai mevorach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. In ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and that there is strength in faith. With Job, we say, Adonai Natan. God, you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in his life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai Lakach. God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and love. As we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach, blessed be the name of God now and forever. And we take this moment to pray in silence. Friends, the Torah recounts God telling Abraham, Judaism's founder, God's telling Abraham, Lech Lecha, go forth. The statement prefigures the insight that not only is life a journey, but that our journeys inevitably define us. Indeed, the central narrative of the Torah is itself a trek through the wilderness. a setting of freedom, inviting awe and reflection, as a gateway to grasping larger unities. As a proud Jew, as one of Abraham's lineal descendants, Donald Garber likewise embraced his opportunities to go forth into nature, as well as to remember his people denied freedom and their very existence. Don was born in 1929. An only child, his father, Max, had been an early radio enthusiast who became a local merchant, selling radios and later televisions and appliances in Waterbury. His mother, Sally, also worked in the business and oversaw its advertising. Don attended Waterbury schools along with Hebrew school at the Bethel Synagogue, becoming a bar mitzvah during World War II. After Crosby High School, he entered Boston University, where he was active in a fraternity and other clubs. He graduated in 1951 and entered the family business. Though Zena and Don were part of the same Jewish community, she was some 4 years younger and attended an Orthodox synagogue. She too went to BU, though they initially met on a double date in Waterbury in 1954, a double date while dating other people. Yet milestones soon came in quick succession. Zena graduated in 1955. She and Don were married in 1956 in New Haven in a setting that facilitated Zena's family rabbi conducting the ceremony. Stuart arrived in 1957, Elaine in 1958. In 1962, Don sold the appliance business, becoming a financial planner, dedicated in his studies and meticulous in his research. He soon established his own agency, specializing in life and health insurance, investment, estate and financial planning, and employee benefits. He was involved in several professional organizations, and his reputation was such that during the final period of his life, Don was especially well cared for by a hospice nurse, herself the grateful daughter of one of his clients. Don was also was supportive of Zena's decision to get a master's degree and embark upon a teaching career. Yesterday, Zena shared with me a letter Don wrote in 1975 to Sherman London at the Republican American newspaper. His article about opportunities to hike in the region and appreciate the great outdoors was accompanied by autobiographical background information. Here is Don in his own words. Quote, "Principal hobbies are hiking, North Country backpacking and family camping, and more hiking." End quote. Apparently, he first got the bug in 1966, in part to have an activity to do with the children. Don was active in the Appalachian Mountain Club, leading hikes and becoming a strong advocate for conservation. Stewart has observed that about a half-century before sustainability became a popular environmental concept, Don had already grasped its importance. Not unlike those ancient Israelites preceding him, he also felt closest to the transcendent while in nature. Don studied guidebooks to master the names of plants and trees. So too, he avidly photographed natural scenery, while also using his camera to document family gatherings. As parents, Don and Zena were focused on educational opportunities for their children. Even in more recent decades, for example, I recall Don's joy in sharing with me the news of a design award that Elaine had won. He sought to stay in touch with his extended family, including his niece Lisa, who stayed with Zena and Don one summer during her youth. Querying Zena about her husband, she spoke of his caring and the value he attached to family. A lifelong synagogue goer, Don served as a trustee of the Bethel and then a member of our congregation's membership and IAC committees. He also attended adult education classes here and volunteered for the Jewish Cemetery Association. He was strong and serious-minded with a distinct ethical compass. Don raised champion dogs, enjoyed museums and the theater, classical music and opera. He read the New York Times. Retiring to Heritage Village in 1999, he delved into genealogy. As his uncles were never found, he became an impassioned advocate for Yad Vashem, Israel's Holocaust Authority's oral history project, and the search for lost family members. Don wrote articles for Our and the Federation's publications, amongst others, and steadfastly promoted Zachor, remembrance. This knowledge of the details of the Shoah made him skeptical of simple pieties and highly attuned to the cruelties directed against our people and that humans can inflict upon one another. Such were his journeys and his commitments. To Zena, a life partner on many hikes and on the sacred trek, who ministered to Don with such devotion, caring for him as illness increasingly took its toll and forced him into a different wilderness. To Stuart and Elaine, and to all who mourn this loss, we say, nothing so ennobles us as the will to love, to care, to work, to remember, to connect with others, and maintain our obligations. Don and you have done all that. His soul now rests in peace, having gone forth to reunite with the source of life and reflection. Within and beyond this sanctuary that was for many years Don's spiritual home, Zichrono Livracha, may he be remembered for blessing. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will.
Oh, say shalom bimromav, uya say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Israel, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We are taught that words matter. Our preeminent prayer, Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel. The proverb teaches a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in a setting of silver. And we now invite forward Don and Zena's son, Stuart.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. Don was ill for quite some time. In the late 90s, he was diagnosed with spinal stenosis and had a surgery, I think, in 98. For those who don't know, that's a growth on the inside of the spine where the bone presses on the nerves and creates spasticity as well as numbness and weakness. So that began, how long is that? That's 20 years, right? He was 6'4" at his tallest. When he died, he was 5'10". He loved to hike, as you heard. After a while, he couldn't do that, and I was amazed that he never felt sorry for himself for losing the capacity to hike. He never complained about that. He found ways to kind of shift what he was focused on. As the rabbi described, he had this quality, whatever he was interested in, he went full out. Whether it was the genealogy, the Yad Vashem, the research that he had to do, which is profession, which was not his passion, but it was what you have to know to be a certified life underwriter and a financial planner. Laws change all the time. Dad hid the books and he worked hard. Really impressive mind and capacity to concentrate. So when he had his illness, he was able somehow to pivot in a way that was very moving. And call him up and he'd say, "How are you, Dad?" And he would say, "About as good as could be expected." Or some variation on that. Eventually, he started developing dementia as well. These things happen anyway, but with the changes in his skull and his neck, and that was really difficult, and he saw it as it was happening. But an interesting thing started to happen, is that he lost the capacity to do everything that he wanted to do. He started to gain the capacity to really appreciate what he had and to express that appreciation to the people in his life, including his children and his wife. Don Garber, who for all his great qualities that the rabbi has spoken about so well, could be kind of a perfectionist, could be a little challenging to be with. But somehow, through his decline, he became sweeter, and I had a quality of warmth and affection for him that I hadn't had. It just took a pleasure in talking to myself and to Elaine that was really a gift to me in his final years, and that's what I take with me. one of the great pleasures that he had besides hiking was the pleasure of music. And I don't know that this was, I guess that was talked about a little bit, but one of the, I'm not sure that this was his favorite song, but this is the song, there's one song that I will most remember him by. It was, those of you who are members of this congregation, if you look out in the hallway where there's all these great plaques mentioning folks who've been members of the congregation, I'm forgetting his name, we knew him as Goldie, right? Do you know who I'm talking about? What his name was? It's out there somewhere. Maybe his name was Goldstein, right? He owned a camera shop, and he was in a Dixieland jazz band that played in Waterbury, you know, and he would go out, and he loved that music. And there was this piece that was a duet always by Louis Armstrong and Jack Teagarden called Old Rockin' Chair, that I believe Dad might have seen that concert when he was a student in Boston. There was a live record that he loved. And I thought about that this past week as I was anticipating this day. And when I looked at the lyrics, I said, oh my God, this is like exactly the song for this occasion. This is usually sung as a duet. I'm going to do this as a solo. You'll forgive me if it seems a bit awkward, but here's how it goes. Old rocking chairs got me, came by my side, fetch me that gin, son, 'fore I tan your hide. Can't get from this cabin, ain't going nowhere. Just set me here grabbing at the flies round this rocking chair. My dear old Aunt Harriet, in heaven she be. Send me sweet chariots, to the end of the trouble I see. Old rocking chair gets it. Judgment Day is here. At last, I'm free. I'm lifted up. I'm taken away. I'm brought up away from that rocking chair. And may his soul be carried, may it be lifted up, may it be brought into the arms of the one who brought us into life, the source of life, the source of love, the source of strength. May we all be blessed to know the oneness with that, as our teachings say, to hold Hashem before us at all times. He's with him. Thank you.
Yehiula Ratzon Imre fi vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali Adonai tzuri v'goali. Amen.
The Talmud recounts Rabbi Judah teaching, there are 10 strong things. Iron is strong, but fire melts it. Fire is strong, but water quenches it. Water is strong, but the clouds evaporate it. Clouds are strong, but wind drives them away. Wind is strong, but the human body bears it. Human beings are strong, but fear casts them down. Fear is strong, but wine allays it. Wine is strong, but sleep overcomes it. Sleep is strong, but death is stronger, and loving kindness survives death. Immediately following the conclusion of this service, we will be directly proceeding to the Hebrew Benefit Cemetery on Stillstone Road in Waterbury for the burial service. Shiva Minyanim will be held at the Watermark in Southbury on Wednesday, tomorrow night, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. We invite forward the pallbearers. While the ancient Egyptians literally sought to hoard and bring treasures and slaves into the afterlife, Judaism counseled otherwise. The Mishnah teaches at the moment of our departure from this world, neither silver nor gold nor precious stones accompany us, only learning and good deeds. Assuredly, dawn arrives on high amidst much knowledge and much dedication to others and to our people. Here is a poetic rendering of the prayer. Linda will momentarily chant the El Malei Rachamim prayer. May the source of life, the fountain of all being, open our hearts to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace and sadness the way of all things. May his memory be for us a blessing, and may we never let the light of his love grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all his worthy and righteous deeds, that his memory be forever bound up in the bond of life. God is our source and our destination, our beginning and our end. May his death awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared and share not be severed in sorrow. May he rest in peace. Together we say, Amen. Amen. We rise as our service is concluded with the traditional El Malei Rachamim prayer.
El Malei Rachamim Shochen Bamramim Hamzeh Minucha Nechona Tachat Hanfer Hashchina Im Kirashim Utoharim Kezahar Harakia Masirim Et Nishmat David Yosef Ben Mordechai V'Sara Rona Shehalach le'olamo Ba'al harachamim Yastivrehu b'seter kenefav le'olamim V'yitzror b'yitzror ha'chayim et nishmato Adonai hu nachalato V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo V'nomar